Burns here with the Top Dog Trading video newsletter. Alright, today, well, it's actually Sunday night at about, well, we just changed time for the daylight savings time change here in California today, so it's actually 9:15. It's supposed to be 10:15, so off by an hour today. Not quite sure if I'm tired or not yet, but I'm supposed to be tired. But anyway, I was just watching the Forex market here, and at this time watching the Australian dollar Japanese yen pair. And so I thought I'd point something out because we had an interesting little thing come up here that is a good lesson. So I thought, well, pull up my recorder and share it with y'all. Okay, so here we are today. Now, since we had the weekend, this was Friday over here, November 1st. And then you can see that horizontal line there, thin, well, let me take this off, it's hard to point to anything. Thin vertical line, I mean, and that little gray one there. So that's the change from one day to the next now, because with Forex, it essentially most of them stopped trading on Friday and opened back up on Sunday. We got a little gap. This is about one of the few times you'll see gaps in foreign charts is over the weekend. And then we came back down, basically at, roughly a gap close, not quite. And but it comes into the moving averages. It's really close. I mean, there's the high of that bar, there's the low of that bar. It gets stopped by the moving averages. And we get a couple of different types of setups here, and this is something you can start looking at. Basically, markets start trading in Asia, and then move their way to the U.S. and Europe and so forth. But so these are usually the first markets I'm going to look at this time. So we get a little cycle low here, 1, 2. Now, yes, this is the first issue here. Is this actually a 1? Answer is yeah. From there to there is a 1, even though there's a gap. And so, yeah, gaps we count as moves. You can kind of, in your imagination, fill bars in between there. And we still continue our wave counts. Okay? Now, a big gap is considered a parabolic move or a vertical move. So be aware of that. If it's a big, big gap, then that's basically considered a vertical parabolic move, and we use all of the rules that we employ for that. This is not a real big one. So it just comes back down to the moving averages, so that would be a first retrace in the trend. It's also a first cycle low after DAD turns up. K does not get even close to 20, of course. We do get a nice engulfing candlestick bar. And as I recall, we did have our confirmation chart there as well. Let's see. Yeah, we did, definitely. So very, very nice. Couple things I look at here that I already mentioned. Nice engulfing candlestick down to the moving averages for support, but actually it's the next bar where you get your hook on K. KD Mom all-ingling up on the 800 tick chart. We had a mini divergence on the 1800 tick chart. Also, it's a concurrent trade. It's a second retrace in the trend on the 1800 tick chart, as well as a first retrace in the trend on the 600 tick chart. It's also a reload pattern on the 1800 tick chart, so this would also be a cherry-picking, an aggressive cherry-picking trade, because you got a double setup there on the 1800 tick chart. So really, it's not only a concurrent setup, it's a quadruple setup. Okay, what are the 4 setups here? Again, on the 600 tick chart scalping, we've got 2 setups: first retrace in the trend and first cycle low after DAD turns up. On the 1800 tick, we have 2 setups for an aggressive cherry-picking trade, second retrace in the trend, and a reload pattern. Okay, because you got a 5-wave down on Mom there. All right, so pretty impressive, pretty impressive. And again, the only thing that's not, well, there's actually 2 things that are not good about this trade, and that's on the 600 tick chart. One, I already mentioned, K doesn't even get close to 20. I mean, if it gets down to like 21, 22, we consider that fine. It's down close, it's in the zone. But this one doesn't even get close. The other thing is that D is above, well, now that I look at it, it's like right at 45, I guess. So that one's not quite as bad as I thought. It's right like on the line, but it's definitely not, ideal. It's passable, I guess. So, yeah. So if K was down to 20, it'd be just no-brainer. As it is, the only thing that's really not super good about the trade is K not getting down to 20. But I just wanted to point out here the quadruple setup. In other words, to encourage you to see, well, not just look for one setup, but wait a minute. Are there two setups at the same time? Oh yeah, first retrace on the trend and first cycle after dad turns up. Hey, let me also look at my longer term chart. Is there a cherry picking trade here? Holy macro, yeah, there's a setup there too. Second retrace on a trend, and oh, wait a minute, it's also a reload pattern. That obviously adds tremendously to the probability of the trade when you get 4 different setups occurring all at the exact same time. Pretty crazy. I don't see that very often. I'll see sometimes, 2 setups at the same time. But 4, holy mackerel, that was really unusual, and it just happened, here. So I wanted to point that out to you because it's pretty incredible. Okay, now that was the main thing I wanted to show you, but since we have some time, I'll show you some other stuff. Now we have a parabolic move up here from 2 to 3. Very parabolic move. Again, most of the time you can see these better on the long-term chart. So very vertical move. All right. So our rules apply here. So what are our rules on a parabolic move? Rule is that we don't trade the first retrace after a parabolic move. Well, that would have been here. It would be the second retrace in the trend on the 600 tick chart. And if you took that trade, let's see here where you would have been triggered. Again, K didn't get down to 20, but just for educational sake, you would have gotten just barely filled. And then the market just kind of goes sideways here. It goes up a few more pips here. But not great, right? And now let's look at this. Okay, so if we didn't take that one, let's say we wanted to take this one. Okay, so if we waited for the second cycle low after that parabolic move, that one we can consider. But if you look over on the long-term chart, the 1800 tick chart, KD and MOM are all angling down. So that keeps you out of that trade. Now, again, an interesting thing here in that we have a first cycle low after dad turns down. So could you take that? Well, yeah, you could. It's a wave 5. And yeah, it's a valid trade because KD and MOM are still down on the 1800 tick chart. Okay, so if you went short, now we'd also be looking at something here. We'd be looking at, even though we're short, we'd be looking at a potential long trade here based on a reload pattern because the 50 MA is still dramatically angling up and we got a 5-wave pattern down on MOM. But again, when you look over at the 1800 tick chart, KD MOM are still down, so therefore that trade is never triggered. So you'd stay in your short position. Here would be another opportunity to take a reload pattern, 7 waves down on MOM on the 600 tick chart. But again, look at your longer term chart. Nope, you're not triggered into that trade, or the trade's not confirmed on the longer term chart. So can't take it, so we would still stay in our short. It's not really going anywhere. And then here's yet another potential reload pattern right in here. Now this one, again, K didn't get even close to 20, even though that is a cycle low. But we're not confirmed on MOM here in the long-term chart, and that's where we are right now. So the first cycle high after dad turned down really hasn't, done much. But any stop and reverse to the upside on this reload pattern has never been triggered either. So yeah, that's just kind of how things happen sometimes. Okay, now we got a few minutes left here, so let me. Okay, so we had on Friday, we had a trade, or we had a trend. And let me just show you some things here. I like to show you this stuff because it just shows how, the reality of trade goes instead of the textbook examples. So here's potentially a first retrace in a trend. generally, the example here, if you notice, A here, 1A on the 600 tick chart, A doesn't get down to the 15 EMA. I don't really like that. I prefer that it gets down there and get really close. So anyway, wait, let's see if we gotta get our confirmation chart showing here. Okay, confirmation chart is confirming the trade, but you never get triggered into it anyway because we never break the high of that bar. And of course, K didn't get down to 20 again. Okay, now we'll get again not triggered here. Okay, here we could get triggered, but this trade, this is valid. You could trade this. We get a nice second chance pattern. Cycle low, KD mom angling up nicely. On the longer term chart, we get a potential cycle low, concurrent cycle lows, which we like. Mom is kind of flat. Technically, it's up. It is mathematically up, but it's pretty close to flat. If you took the trade, you did okay, but it's not a trend trade anymore. Now it's just a first retrace after the trend, and because the 50 MA actually went down here a little bit. Okay, then we put in a 1, and the 50 MA continues to stay up. So now, if we could either stay on the trend we already had if we took that one. If we didn't, I don't think there was a actual good trigger here for the first retrace on the trend. No, there really wasn't, because you wouldn't get confirmed until this bar, and then you're not even getting your hook on K. So then it's just way too late. Because it comes too late, so we cannot take that. Okay, second retrace in the trend. No, mom is angling down. Come over here. Mom's still angling down. Okay, actually we could take it here. So yeah, we could take it here. This is your second retrace in the trend, so we do get an opportunity to get in long. KD mom angling up, mini divergence, clear 50 MA angling up. It's a complex pattern there on the 200 or on the 600 tick chart. Go over to your 1800 tick chart. KD and mom are all angling up. So yes, we do get a valid trade there. And K had been down to 20 also on this cycle low. So by the way, on this, that's another good point because I've gotten asked this question before. Oh, actually, you could have taken the trade on this bar here. Yeah, okay. So that's even better. Yeah, sometimes people ask me, well, okay, so at this place on that 600 tick chart where my vertical line is, my crosshairs, K is not down to 20. Can I take the trade? Well, yes, because the key is the rule of K getting down to 20 is just that during the cycle low that you're trading, it has to get down to 20. And then, but not as you're entering. In fact, normally it's not even going to be down to 20 as you're entering. And so anytime after that, you can take the long trade with two filters. Number one, and sometimes people ask me this too, how long do I have to wait if I'm not triggered right away? And this is a great example because we weren't triggered right away at all. So we've waited a long time. Well, how long do you have to wait before you can't take the trigger anymore, can't take the trade anymore? So the answer is basically twofold. Number one, we want D to stay at 45 or below. Okay, once it gets to above 45, then we say, oh, it's a little late in that cycle. We're not confident that that cycle is going to last anymore. In fact, we're into cycle high territory technically. So that's it, number one. And number two is just the money management principle. What is the risk from where you get in to where you have to put your stop loss? If that risk exceeds the amount of money you're willing to risk on any given one trade, based as a percentage of your trading account, then you can't take the trade. Okay, so that one worked out fine, and I think that's all I'm going to look at for that day. Okay, so some good lessons there, and yeah, just as I was watching this market here, I just thought, wow, there's a very interesting example of how we had 4 concurrent setups all at the same time. Pretty darn rare. So since it was here in real time, I thought I'd share it with you.